Y'all want to scream now? Yeah, start through. Let's do We Are Gay America. Are you ready? We are gay America. We are gay America. We are gay America. Go Dana. Great. Don't worry, I'm wearing a blue. Get him, Silver. Thank you. You'll be on that ground right there. When I get up, honey. I'm taking it. Sorry. It's really good. I can't believe they didn't think to have, you know, I mean, they should have 4 or 5 people, you know, just to get different types. Many years. Oh, this is
know, like people in cars, decorations, all these signs. I just expected it all. Yeah, that's it. I want that side. Right there. Go, go. I used to love it. She let it go for 1 year and wanted to get it again. Somebody else had it. Well, we're on Channel 6.
If you're gay and you know it, you'll get right. Get it right! We're clear! We're here! Get used to it! We're here! We're clear!
The G Garland in 1992.
We're here! We're gay America! We are 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 gay America! We are.
I'd like to introduce you at this time, Miss Brandy Davis. She is the chairperson of Knoxville Pride. She has coordinated the whole effort. She will now say a few words.
Let's move this away from that so we can't get that squeaking to stop there.
Huh.
Look now. Oh, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome everyone. You know, last year, here we are the second year. They said it couldn't be done. Well, here we are again. That's it. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you out. You know, it's taken a lot of time, quite a few people, and I'd like to introduce the people who put it all together besides myself. I'd like to introduce at this time our secretary this year, the talk of the town, Miss Toni Carlisle. Our treasurer, Mr. Eddie Bowden, who is not here. His mother is getting married today, but she knew that he came early this morning, okay? And my co-chairman, which who is out in the public eye, very much so. I cannot use that. I'm sorry, but everyone knows him. Okay.
He's here in spirit.
He's here in spirit, but he can't be here today with us here. Also, Mr. James Talent, Mr. Michael Smith, Mr. Paul Justice, and I'll say Mr. Ed. I can't say anything else. Also, Mike Owen, David Frazier, and
There's
many others who everyone got together to put all this thing together. Who? Jody. Yes, Jody. Over here, Miss Jody. Angie. Yeah. At this time, I'd like to kick everything off for the rally. And the first person to do that will be the one who thought of our logo this year, which is True Colors Shining Through. The one and only, the talk of the town, Miss Toni Carlisle.
like a rainbow.
You don't know what you have. All right, I have a special gift for you, and I'm going to start off with the good news, bad news scenario. First, the bad news. Mayor Victor Ashe refused to sign a proclamation to honor Gay Pride Day. All right, now the good news. I'm going to read to you. You've been read before. Proclamation. By executive order of the Honorable Dwight Kessel of Knox County Executive. It is hereby proclaimed Knoxville Pride Day. Whereas June 27, 1992 is to be known as Knoxville Pride Day. And whereas this is a day of recognition of the gay and lesbian members of our community. And whereas in the true fashion of America, people of diverse views can air their views and pursue their beliefs. And whereas Knoxville's second annual Gay Lesbian Pride Parade will be held on June 27th in an effort to create a more aware community for all citizens to work and live together. Yeah. Now therefore, I, Dwight Kessel, I'm not Dwight, Knox County Executive, do hereby proclaim June 27, 1992 as Knoxville Pride Day to recognize the rights and the diversity of all people as they celebrate on this day. Yeah. Let all within the reach of this proclamation heed its directives. His Honor, the Knox County Executive, Dwight Kessel. It's a big step from last year. I was recently, today, asked, well, why isn't the turnout so good as last year? And I told them that last year we had to prove a point. There was a lot of media coverage, a lot of problems with the mayor, and that this year we're celebrating. And in celebration, I'd like to bring out your first guest speaker. She is our parade marshal. She is from Atlanta. She is on the executive committee of the National Steering Committee of the March on Washington in '93.
I'll see you there. My friends and family here, because I consider all of you my family. Yeah, I went out last night and talked to some people and had dinner and had a good time. And I had decided that I was going to give like a very middle-of-the-road type talk. I wore the latest in middle-of-the-road drag and you know, that moderate approach to the March on Washington. And I got here and I started talking. It went right out the window. It's still in the hotel room. I decided that since I'm here in Knoxville, among my people, that I have to take the steps that are necessary to speak to you from my heart, to tell you what I'm thinking, where I'm coming from, and where we're going all together. Not the safe way, the way that speaks from where I stand right now. So instead what you have are the notes from last night as Cherry was trying to sleep, and I said, hey babe, what do you think, you know? Among other things, right here. And for a small price, I won't talk about those. The thing I wanted to start off talking to you about, though, was the name of the march. The 1993 March on Washington for Lesbian, Gay, and Bi Equal Rights and Liberation. Now, the first time I heard the word bisexual mentioned, I went, oh, please, do we have to talk about this? Do we really have to talk about this? This is a lesbian and gay march. What is going on? What is the news here with bi? You know, and I thought of all the traditional things that have been said, and then something happened. Bisexuality became not a cause, it became Autumn, it became Bob, it became John, it became Ed, it became people I knew. And I talked to them about where they were and what they were doing. And what I found out I had done was to try and want to make people occupy a space that was comfortable for me. It wasn't their space. I heard things that had been said about me, like confused. Now, how many times did y'all hear when you're about 15, you're confused, get married, have a couple of kids, you get over it?
It don't work.
Don't we know, it does not work.
All right, girl.
The second thing that I heard was certain people spread disease. Now, some of you may not be aware, this is something that was said about black people for a long time, that we were immoral and spread disease. It's been said about gay people for a long time. You know, we're responsible for the HIV epidemic that has hit this country. Not a virus, it's us. I would like to find out, though, who is responsible for the epidemic of heart attacks that hits A-type white male executives. I mean, have you ever heard of anyone going to a cardiac unit and someone say, it's your own fault, you ate that meat, you know, you didn't exercise? If we're going to talk about causing your own problem. I've also heard heterosexual privilege used, that people who are bi can go back and forth in either world and they get that. Well, the difference that I see is that if we're closeted, we get the same right when we invent a girlfriend, a boyfriend, and that kind of thing, that we have that privilege to stay in the heterosexual world and not come out. So I looked at these few things and I thought, well, I can't really look at people and decide how they should be. I've come to believe that there's a scale. There's like super het and super homo. You know, so I'm not a scientist, okay? And that people fall all along that scale. And I know where my niche is. I don't know where yours is. And I really am not going to get involved in where it is as long as it's not with Cherry. It'll be all right. Now, we've watched our movement change from the gay movement to the gay and lesbian movement. And our society is set up so that everything that is male covers everything, like history. We don't have herstory. Like mankind, we don't have womankind and mean all of us. So what we're having to do within our system is to relearn ways to use words, which is sometimes kind of difficult. If I don't understand bisexuality, that's all right. If it's the only thing that I don't understand, I'll be doing real good. Another issue that came up was transgender. It was actually less of a struggle to me than bisexuality. And within the March documents itself, you'll see it mentioned. The straight community thought we were all transgender at one time. We've all heard, who's the man, right? Yeah. Who's the woman? Which one of you? You know, it's none of your business. A femme top, a butch bottom, none of this really has any place in it. And I thought for someone has a place. I hear it out there. Okay. Within what we're doing, if I am a gay woman, and words are important. I could be a dyke, I can be a lesbian, I can be a gay woman, I can be butch, I can be femme. If someone says to me that they're uncomfortable in their body, I will no longer claim the right to tell them how they should feel about their own body. It's theirs. Let them tell me. It's not my business. And that means simply, I'm not a member of the sex police anymore. I resigned during the march process. It's over. The platform for the march is broad. We could have used the one for 87. We didn't get anything, right? So we could go back for the same reasons. The habit of using language that isolates and divides us is one that is hard to break. I think we made a good start, and I'd like to read to you just the preamble, which was actually created by the People of Color Caucus, and everyone loved it, and the People of Color caucused again and said, have it, take it and use it. The lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender movement recognizes that our quest for social justice fundamentally links us to the struggle against racism and sexism, class bias, economic injustice, and religious intolerance. We must realize if one of us is oppressed, we are all oppressed. The diversity of our movement requires and compels us to stand in opposition to all forms of oppression that diminish the quality of life for all people. We will be vigilant in our determination to rid our movement and our society of all forms of oppression and exploitation, so that all of us can develop to our full human potential without regard to race, religion, sexual orientation, identification, identity, gender, and gender expression, ability, age, or class. Now, to me, that's a real good start on where we want to go, because what we're beginning to accept is that we're not as much a sexual minority as a group that has had our sexuality to try and create a minority status for us. It's a completely different concept. We didn't agree on the list of items, what should be on there. Some people said March for Equal Rights and Liberation, and other people said, well, you can't leave out AIDS, and other people said, well, what about breast cancer? Well, it's not a gay issue. Well, neither is AIDS. It's not a gay issue. Well, what about reproductive rights, and what about this? And so we have this document that takes us a real stab at that. And looking at the real issue as not being sexuality is a new tack for us. We're not leaving that as something that we're certainly not interested in, because we want our girlfriends and boyfriends as we choose them, not someone else selects them. When you look at the way people define who and what they are and how groups are addressed, if you look at black people and you see Amos and Andy, Step and Fetch It, you look at women and you see Leave It to Beaver, Make Room for Daddy. And then you look at our people and you see a Swish hairdresser, an interior decorator. Now, all of these were funny. All these were funny images, and people laughed at those kind of things, or a lot of people laughed at them. Some of us never laughed at any of them. We said, what is this, from the very beginning. If it were just the image that was the problem, if it were the sexuality that were a problem, there would never have been anything funny about it. Have you ever heard a joke about a child molester?
No.
You ever heard one about a rapist?
No.
Because there ain't nothing funny about it. So what happened with us was that when we stopped being the cute little swishes that they wanted us to be and fit into that niche and said, we are Americans, we want our rights, we know who we are, we know what we are, that hasn't changed the fact that we're Americans, and it said equal rights and justice for all, not for some. And they said, wait a minute, wait a minute. That is the difference. When you stand up and do like Nancy Reagan said and just say no, then everyone gets upset and says, but you don't understand, this is not what we had planned. When you look at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it's a guarantee of the Constitution. Every time a group has come forward and say, we call on the guarantee of the Constitution, the Congress has said, no. We had to have the civil rights movement of the 60s. The ERA has still not been passed, and here we are, again, working on our freedom, making our movement happen. Inalienable rights, that's what they are, inalienable. And we're going to see that they're made that way. The last thing that came to mind for me was the closet, and how we come in or stick a toe out or, you know, whatever, as we think about it. And sometimes we plan to peep out of the closet door, look through the keyhole, I'm just going to do this. A lot of you already know it. That does not work. You can plan how far you're coming out of the closet, and you look around, all the walls are falling down. It's gone. I have decided to share something with you because I do understand being closeted or having to work and what you're doing to come out. It's an intensely personal experience, which I have never shared before, except with maybe one person at a time. I was born in Atlanta, and I was young, and it was the early 60s. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. lived there. and I wanted to get involved. And I went to a sit-in. It was on Lee Street. It was at a Krispy Kreme donut shop. And I sat down at that counter, and the police were there, and the people that didn't want us to be there were there, and the owners were there, and everyone was there. And this guy came in, and he bought a cup of coffee, and he poured it down a girl's back. And everyone sat there. And the only person who was having a problem, as far as I could tell, was me. I was shaking, I was so mad. And he looked like a real good candidate to have somebody bite a hole in his throat. And I was going to volunteer. I got up, walked out, did not turn back. The police were waiting for one of us to do something so they could arrest all of us. And I was the one who didn't have that nonviolence down pat. I don't think I've ever been more shamed in my life. I went home and I thought about it, and I kept thinking, you can get better. You can get over it. And it was about 4 days later when I saw Dr. King again. And I told him that I was sorry, that I was so weak, that I was too weak to be nonviolent, and that I had tried and I didn't know what I could do. And he told me, he said, Pat, it's all right. He said, we all do what we can, and you'll do what you can. Not one word of condemnation came out of that man's mouth. And I remember watching the Freedom Riders go off. I remember watching Selma on television and feeling shame and guilt because I wasn't there. I've had 20 plus years to work on that, how I felt. And when I realized I belonged to another minority that was queer America, and I embraced queer, dyke, lesbian, gay, they're all a part of me. I came out with a vengeance. I had 20-some years to think about it. And when I watch people struggle with that desire to come out, that want to come out, and that fear, and to feel that shame of there are people out there doing it, and that I'm not, and that I should be with them, that's when I know I will speak for them as King and the others spoke for me, and I will stand up and I will speak. Nothing that will close my mouth as long as there is breath in my body, and there was nothing that will make me bash my sisters and brothers because they're doing what they can in the way they can, how they can for them. It's their space. They support us. I support them. We stand together. Some of us march in the street, others write checks, others write letters, and other people say, we need to change the policy of our company to include sexual orientation. And all together, we make a community. I think it's time that we all stood together for what we believe in and to make my personal vision a reality. I don't believe that our estimate for the March of 1 million is correct. I think it's too low. We're going to have in excess of 2 million people. I want too many people to march. If we think about moving it out to Arlington, maybe, and lining up, and if not, we'll cruise their lips, and we're going to let Congress know we're your constituents, we're your people. Know we didn't all come from some other state, and we want to talk to you, and you'll give us our rights, and we'll vote you out and get somebody who will. As we are rewriting the history of how people come together, everything we have been taught divides us. We are in uncharted territory, and one of the things that scares the hell out of them is they know we're going to get it right. We're going to figure out how to become one community of women, of men, of different colors, all kinds of ethnicities, and we're all united, and we're not trying to beat each other up, but to come together kind of like a jigsaw puzzle where the edges fit. You don't have to fit a mold. You can be who you are. And that is the thing that's going to happen. The time has come for us to stand beside each other and to love each other and to give ourselves permission to love ourselves. It's just too late for us to look back at the models of what we've had. We have to keep going in uncharted territory.
Yeah. All right.
ask those of you that are here today to work with those who are not, to get our community united across this country. There's going to be something happening in Washington next year that ain't nobody ever seen before. And I want all of you to be there, a part of it with us, our whole community united. Band together, stand up for Knoxville, stand up for Chattanooga, for Atlanta, for the whole nation. Right on, keep going, don't lose the dream.
That's enough. We don't need to kick ourselves for that. One of the wonderful things is that we're all here, and I think we ought to be grateful to each other. So if you'll just turn to those people around you and thank them for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
True colors. Whenever I thought about the theme being true colors, I thought about the whole idea. I can't speak behind something standing still. We can no longer allow others to dictate who we are, to label us. It's time to break free. In my tradition, in the tradition of the Christianity and Judaism, and even in the Muslim tradition, we start with the creation story. And for those who don't know, there's two creation stories in the Bible. The one you hear in church about original sin, and there's one that comes before that, and I think that came before that because the Bible authors wanted it there. It wanted to be first, and that one says, God looked at everything on the sixth day, and it was good. It was very good.
Yes. Yes.
Everything starts with blessing. You're good, very good. It doesn't start with sin, it starts with blessing. We're good. We're created good. We are good. Very good. We're blessing.
Amen.
Thank you all for coming out this evening. You don't know how proud it makes me to be the very first Miss Gay Pride for Knoxville. And I would like to see each and every one of you bring a friend with you next year so we can double this number, because if we do not unite together, we're not going to accomplish anything. Bickering, backbiting, all that stuff has got to go. You got to stick together with each other, and through that and a little bit of work, determination, and love, you can see yourself through anything that life has to offer you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I won't keep you very long, because if there's one thing I've learned about Knoxville, it is that you all do like to have a good time. And when Brandy asked me to represent the Tri-Cities, which is my home, here at the Gay Pride Rally, at first it sounded kind of strange to me, because I've been to Knoxville several times, and every one of you have made me feel so welcome. I feel like this is my second home, and I really want to thank you for that. The point I would like to make for you today is I would like to thank you and the organizers for having this event. In the Tri-Cities, we have done very little to promote the Gay Pride Week. And I hope in my heart that you all will get in touch with your friends in the Tri-Cities and move and grow in number, so that next year I won't come to Knoxville, that I'll stay in my hometown and support Gay Pride there, and that way we can spread through Knoxville, Tri-Cities, Chattanooga, Asheville, and everywhere, because gay people are everywhere. And as I celebrate my individuality and I celebrate yours, I hope that next year that everywhere we can celebrate Gay Pride.
Oh, Lord. 6'8" and talk like a baritone. Okay. When I started to write this speech, I had so many conflicting thoughts and ideas that I wanted to communicate with you. I didn't know if I should be political or apolitical, to try and justify myself with excuses, or to tell who, what, why, and where all this started, and what our purpose is in this community of diverse and caring people. It's then that I decided you of our community who don't know what we are about, or those who do, should understand that we are a viable asset in more ways than just by putting on a dress and lip-syncing to music. My name is Lemmy Smith, and I perform as the character Silva LeMay, and I am a gay man. When you take away all this costume, and I do mean costume, I function just as any of you do. To let you in on who I am, let me tell you something about myself. I was born and raised in Knoxville. I have one sister, 2 brothers, nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, and a mother who gave me strength and courage every day of my life, and I love her. I went to grammar school here. I graduated from Powell High School. I attended the University of Tennessee and majored in theater. I was the first female impersonator to ever perform on the Clarence Brown Theater stage in the Mikado. Ta-da! I've performed in Austin and Houston, Texas on the stage there, as well as the Clarence Brown and on gay stages around the Southeast. I've had numerous jobs from a window dresser, waiter, disc jockey to carpenter, painter, wallpaper hanger, female impersonator. As you can see, I'm just as normal as any of you here, but there is that stigma that I'm not as normal as any gay, lesbian, or bisexual because I wear this costume. I wear this costume because I love to entertain. I'm an actor, a singer, a dancer. I'm not a freak. This costume is just like any costume that all actors or actresses wear on the stage, be it professional or not. Men have been performing as women for time eternal. The Romans, the Greeks, Shakespeare have all used men as female performers, but still there is this stigma. When the drag queens rioted at Stonewall, they basically started the gay pride movement. They were sick and tired of being abused and lashed out. And that's what I feel the entertainers should do today. I am standing on the steps of the city-county building where at one time right about there was a gay bar where drag shows were performed. So I find this a damn good time to start. To start to let you, the community, know that we have been around a long time. We'll be here a lot longer. This reason being that we are the cheap entertainment in your bars, the main way to raise money for your different funds and events, the brunt of all your jokes, and the strength of all of you to continue in this community to fight for lesbian, gay, and bisexual rights. You might think this rather brazen of me, but I'm personally tired of it. Bar owners and managers will pay you a measly salary and tell you that your tips will make up for it, but they don't realize how much time and effort and money it takes. When I sat and thought about this, I figured out that if I bought everything new for this day alone, it would cost me around $250. And that's just for today. Think about 4 nights a week with 2 shows a night, plus music for 4 numbers a night, costumes for 5 numbers a night, shoes, wigs, hose, lashes, powder, gloves, earrings, and etc. And that's just for 1 week, plus rehearsal time, and if you make your own costumes, sewing time. So for bar owners, we are a $17.50 to a $25 a night form of almost free entertainment. Bar owners, if you make money, spend money to make more money in all areas of your business. For AIDS and other events and are appreciated for it. We give our time and tips and are appreciated for it. Appreciated from the time the overture starts until the last number stops, and then probably never spoken to again until the next time someone needs money again. Think again that we do volunteer our time and tips, usually under the persuasion of the management, but sometimes thank yous and appreciation can last a lot longer than 5 minutes after the show. We are conscious of the fact that money is always needed to continue the fight against AIDS and to raise awareness of our fight for equality, but bring us to the forefront with you and don't leave us in the shadows. The community as a whole does not want to admit that we are part of them. Because we put on this costume, we are the minority of your minority. We are looked upon by some as only wanting to be women. Some think we're funny but don't want to get too close. Some get close but not close enough. This sometimes is to impress their friends or to gain some form of popularity. Some worship and adore and are mesmerized by us. They think we are stars and untouchable. The very few who do let us be us are amazed that we are just like them. We have feelings, problems, situations, thoughts, hopes, and dreams just as they do. When you see us on the street or in the mall, you can speak. We're in the bar, you can come up and be friendly. It's not easy performing for your peers who can put you down or build you up in a matter of seconds. My costume is no different than yours. The leather, the blue jeans, the t-shirts, the duck heads, the bugle boys, the Z Cavariccis, all this is a costume you put on to impress and perform in. My costume can be taken off and I do become someone else. Can you? Can you accept me and realize I have the same desire as you do to be accepted in the world as a human being? Treating other entertainers as you would yourself is hard because sometimes you don't know how to treat yourself. This business of drag can be so vicious and backbiting that you don't know whether to quit or just go on with the show. Entertainers quibble among themselves about how they are treated by bar owners and management, the clientele, etc., but we rarely have the power to do anything about it. We as entertainers should stand together and try to make a change instead of trying to be the one who makes the most money, to be the most real, the most talented, the most bitchy. There is enough talent in this town that all of us could work, not just the ones who pull rank and power and try to make the rest of us look stupid and unpopular. Get your heads out of the pan stick and the powder and let's pull together for a change that will make us accessible to our gay, lesbian, bisexual, and straight community. Our community is biased and sometimes one-sided. We allow the bars to dictate where we go and how we should get along. If we can't pull the establishments together, how can we pull the community together? Let's start telling the bar owners and management that we want them to work together so that we can work together. Don't pull us apart because of your petty jealousies. Pull us together with the power of your voices and the strength of our dollars that are pouring into your business. Bars, start talking and working together as so many cities do during this time of pride and joy in our community. We all somehow or the other are responsible for our destiny in the gay, lesbian, and bisexual community. This Pride Parade is not about our sexuality, but our humanity. We are a group of diverse individuals with immense amount of knowledge, wisdom, talent, and creativity among us. We are applauded for our efforts of the heart and mind, but booed and hissed for the feelings from our soul. I want to thank again my mother. I want to thank two people in the world who made a big difference on me, Al Harris and Wanda Lee Henshaw, two of my professors who made it possible for me to pull this creativity out of me. I want to thank a very dear and special friend of mine who was killed 9 years ago in a car wreck. He means the world to me and he gives me strength every day. I want to thank Brandy Davis for pulling all of this together. I want to thank my best friend and worst enemy for 18 years, Tony Carlisle, who got me through all this. But most of all, I feel that being an entertainer in this town, I have the power to change so much by my performances, whether they be on the main stage of the Clarence Brown or on the gay stages of the Carousel, Trumps, or the Old Plantation. I am proud of myself. I am proud of my community. I'm proud to be a gay man. But most of all, I am proud to be the theatrical empress, Silva LeMay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to bring to the stage now our chairperson and a very special number for you all. Find somebody, hold hands, get into it. It's a great song. Welcome to the stage, our chairperson for Gay Pride 92, Miss Brandy Davis.